In this video, I'm going to explain to you the best campaign structure for low budget ads on Facebook ads. The reason why low budget ads and why there's a different campaign structure to big budget ads is because with big budget ads, you've got a lot more data to play with. You can play with more ad sets, more creatives, more campaign types, and different structures in terms of audience targeting. So I'm going to take you through what you need to be doing for small budget ads, because we see time and time again people coming to me for advice and they've got the wrong campaign structure for the budget level that they have. A lot of the advice and the guidance out there from a lot of your influencers in the Facebook ads world is talking specifically about big budget ads. If people have got over 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 pounds or dollars every single month to spend on their ads. Most small and medium businesses, most people playing with the Facebook ads platform aren't spending those sorts of budgets. So if you've got under £1,000, this video is for you. So stick around and we'll take you through it. First big tip is to pick the campaign objective that suits what you're looking to achieve. If you want sales, don't run a traffic campaign. If you want leads, don't run an awareness campaign. I know that these more awareness type campaigns like the awareness and the traffic campaigns, they're going to give you far greater reach. They're going to give you a much lower CPM, which is the cost to reach 1,000 people. But the algorithms are designed differently. They're not going to deliver you the objectives, the outcomes that you're wanting. So the first thing, the biggest tip, is to pick the campaign which best describes the outcome that you want. So in this case, on this test campaign, I'm just going to pick sales. Okay. You've then got a couple of options, Advantage or manual sales campaigns. Advantage is simply going to use a lot of the new AI features and it's going to give Facebook a lot of power. Just to show you all the options, I'm going to select manual here, but it might be right for you that you select Advantage in future. So then you're going to want to consider what budget you actually want to run with. Now, if you've got under £1,000 a month, then this video really is for you. But you might sort of be thinking, can I spend £1 a day? Can I spend £2 a day? Can I spend just £100 a month? If you're working with budgets that small, we would suggest that you just boost your posts. Because really with the ads manager, when you're working with a small budget, I'd say really no less than sort of £250 to £300 a month, about £10 a day. The trick is with Facebook ads campaigns is these are using a lot of AI, it's using a lot of data. And if it's not getting the data in order to reach your optimization goals, you're gonna become learning limited and your ads are always going to struggle. So that's a kind of a nice segue into the next part, which is all around your optimization goals. So what do you want to optimize for? So to exit the learning phase, you need to complete 50 events within a 7-day period. Whatever you set that optimization goal as, you need to complete 50 of them within 7 days to exit that learning phase. Now, if you're running a budget of £300 a month, which is the lower end that I would recommend for a sales campaign, to achieve 50 within a 7-day period, so 300 divided by 4, let's call that about £70-ish for a week. Are you really going to achieve 50 sales with £70? It's going to be unlikely. So what you need to do is think of it in terms of a funnel. What do people need to do before they make that purchase? When everyone's going to go through the same process. They're going to land on your page, then they're going to add to cart, then they're going to initiate checkout, and finally they're going to sell. Now, what I would recommend doing if you're going with a lower budget is optimizing for add to cart. Generally speaking, if you've got a good add to cart conversion rate, about 1 in 8 people are going to go from add to cart to actually being a customer. So if you optimize for add to cart, it's more likely you're going to get those 50 events, but you're still going to be getting some sales. What you're going to enable the AI to do is really learn the type of person who is adding to cart, your type of customer, your retargeting data. You're going to give it all of this information with which to work. So that's one really, really big tip. If you're working with a low budget, look at your sales funnel and optimize for an earlier stage. You will still make those sales, but you will also be able to exit the learning phase. Let's go for campaign structure then. How do you want to structure the campaigns? Because a lot of the advice that I've seen and what prompted me to make this video is actually seeing a video from another influencer and he's talking about the perfect campaign structure. And he was talking about having 5 different ad sets, and you want one for retargeting, one for cold audiences, one for upselling, and all of this other stuff. And I thought, well, that's great advice if you're spending £10,000 a month. And if you've got tens of thousands of people coming into your website and all this data for Facebook to advertise. If you're spending low budget, chances are you don't have that data. So we would suggest one campaign and you want one ad set targeting a single audience. If you're running with a low budget, you're not going to have the budget to conduct all of that experimentation. And by having 5 ad sets that target all sorts of different people, really what you're doing is you're watering that budget down further and further and further to the point where your ads are going to be completely ineffective. Okay, so with audience targeting, it's a massive part of low budget campaigns, because what Facebook seems to want to do, and what a lot of the advice around there is saying, to have a minimum audience size of 2 million people on a national level nowadays. But if you're running a low budget ad, the chances are you only want to target a small area, a small audience. It might be that you only want business in your local town or within a 10-mile, 20-mile radius from where your business operates from. And if that's the case, you're just not going to find a 2 million audience. You can reduce and refine your audience down, but if you do so, make sure you're targeting no fewer than 100,000 people. So how do you achieve that if you are in a town? So it might be that you have to expand your audience a little bit further than you're comfortable with. So it might be if you only want business within a 20-mile radius, it might be for the purpose of Facebook ads to make them be able to perform effectively, you have to expand that to 30, 35 miles to capture a bigger audience to then start making those sales, or it might be leads that you're after, that sort of thing. Secondly, you're going to have to give it some options. Now, you do want to broaden the audience out a little bit. So what we'd suggest, and if I come into the laptop here, I'll just keep it at a national level. You should know, if you're watching this video, how to refine it down a little bit. You can see here that Advantage Plus audience is on, and I would recommend leaving that on, because baked into that Advantage Plus algorithm is retargeting of people who are visiting your website, retargeting of people who are making purchases. So you're going to have all of this data that is captured by that algorithm there, but you can give it further suggestions as well. And I would recommend that you do this. So I would recommend that you plug in other audience, such as your Facebook likes and followers, anybody who's interacted with you across Facebook and Instagram. And I would maximize the amount of time for that data capture to the maximum allowed amount, which is 100. In fact, for Facebook and Instagram followers, it's 365 days. But for website visitors, it's 180 days. So really broaden it out as much as you can and get as many people in there as you can. And then within the detailed targeting, include people who match. And this is where you're going to put in, it might be sports equipment. So you might want to put in there just interest to sports, broad interest targeting to try and give Facebook Ads Manager an idea of who your customer is. You can just leave it blank. You can just go with an Advantage Plus audience, but for a small budget campaign, you're not going to have the budget, and within the learning phase, you're going to struggle to do the testing that it would ordinarily need to do. So you need to be a bit more laser focused and really niche down into exactly who you want to target, whilst bearing in mind to capture that minimum of 100,000 people, absolute minimum. Ideally, you want to take it out broader if you can. As for the rest of the Advantage features, Advantage placements, audience controls, all of that stuff, I would leave it on as much as possible, because you need to allow the AI to do its thing. It might be that you have some data that you can go in and you can assess, and you can see that most of your sales are coming from Instagram, from the Facebook newsfeed. So you might want to come down into the placements, and you might want to refine it down a little bit. Use some of this information down here to refine where Facebook is going to show your ads. And finally, I'll just talk about frequency, because if you're targeting a small audience and you decide you start making sales, you start making leads, and then you decide, you know what, I'm going to start to scale this budget now because I'm starting to make money, I've got good ROI, I've got good return on ad spend or a good lead cost, and you try and scale this campaign that's on a small budget into a large budget, what you're going to find is your frequency is the amount of time somebody's seen your ads. What you're going to find, your frequency really shoots through the roof. So what you're going to have to do is amend your campaign, because going from this kind of setup, your frequency will rise quite quickly. If you're running with a small budget to a small audience, then it's going to be effective. But when you try and double, triple, quadruple, and you try and go from spending £500 a month to £5,000 a month because you're making money, what you're going to see is your results drop off unless you make changes. So stick around and like and subscribe for a future video, which we're going to do, which is all about how to scale your campaign, how to scale from a small budget campaign to a large budget campaign. I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you next time.